Hey y'all, I'm Coco.
I'm Mac, and welcome to
Coco Mac Lifestyles. So this installment is going to be our spirituality and relationship section. We are going to talk about how we deal with triggers and trauma. I wanted to talk about this one in particular because so often we look to our partners as therapists. We shouldn't. However, there are going to be times where it's a little unavoidable when we're triggered.
Go to therapy. We all need therapy. So,
1000%.
Let's go ahead and put that out there in the air now.
Please go to therapy. But in those instances where you find yourself triggered and you're with your partner, or your partner is triggered and you're there with them, we just kind of wanted to talk about what we do in those particular instances. Now, I will fully admit that the more I have evolved and the more I have worked on myself, I have become more and more of a crybaby. I will fully admit that I am a big old Taurus. I'm a thug. I don't tell people my emotions.
Keep going.
I am a suffer. I used to be a suffer in silence type of person. I'll just handle it on my own. I'm not about to tell anybody what's going on with me. The more I have evolved, the more I have worked through things, I am a big babbling brook of a mess of a crybaby now. So I get triggered a lot more than Mac does. And yeah, we're just going to go ahead and dive into it.
So when you start talking about trauma and triggers, everybody says you have to heal from it. You have to, but before you can start trying to heal from it, you have to be able to acknowledge your trauma. And that's not easy to do by yourself all the time.
No.
So, in therapy, one of the things they're going to tell you, particularly when it comes to communicating with your partner, is, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, even just when you feel like they did something to you, but just at any given time, I feel like this because of this.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's easier for our partners to recognize our patterns than it is for us to recognize our own.
Very much.
And
so.
I feel like that is a place where a lot of the acknowledgement can begin.
Yes. There are times where I'll get triggered subconsciously and my mood completely shifts. I am childish and annoying as hell. I bother him all day. We laugh and joke and kiki all day. The moment that I'm triggered, I will get withdrawn. I will get quiet. My whole face changes, and he has no problem saying, "Hey, are you all right?" And knowing that I'm that suffering silence type of person, he'll pull it out of me. And I'm at a place where I can tell him, "Hey, I don't want to talk right now," and then come back 5 minutes later and be like, "Well, see, this is the thing."
I do not advocate forcing your partners to talk before they are ready. But please, when you are ready, talk.
Understand that your partner is, yes, there's a level of obligation there because that is your partner, but at the same time, your partner absolutely wants to know what's bothering you. You are not bothering your partner by saying what's bothering you. Have that communication. Be open, because your partner, they're not mind readers. And you can't expect them to be, well, you should know. No. How am I supposed to know that you got mad because Wingstop ran out of ranch? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's very hard for your partner to understand what's going on with you if you don't talk about it, right? So once we have the acknowledgement that something is wrong, You have to understand the root cause of it. And so you guys who follow me on Coco, Kitten, Bruja know I'm always going to say when it comes to triggers, they usually fall into one or two categories. Either a boundary's been broken or a need hasn't been met, right? Or there's a third one. A personal experience has been brought to the surface, right? So now that we have acknowledged that there's a trigger, we kind of talk it out of where the trigger resides, right? Now, again, your partner is not your therapist. So if you feel like you need to talk to somebody else about this, absolutely do so, but keep the communication open. Typically with me, as I'm going through my personal journey, a lot of my triggers stem from prior personal experiences that are being brought to the surface. Things that I haven't dealt with have lately been bubbling up to the surface from very small things. He recognizes that in me. He gives me the space to be the crybaby, and then, okay, let's talk about it. And I love Matt for the fact that he doesn't push. Even though he wants to be there, he wants to help me, and he wants to support me in every way, shape he can, he still allows me to open the door for him to do so. And you know, when it's the other way around, I have a really bad habit, my own triggers. I will ask this man 30 times a day, are you okay? You all right? You good?
I just woke up. So I think it's important to acknowledge that not every person is going to have the same needs. So, you know, my approach with Coco might not be the approach that you need to take with your partner, but that's where the talking comes into place. Mm-hmm. What are your needs? How can I help you? And, you know, when we have these problems in the future, how should I go about addressing them?
Exactly. It kind of stems along with the love languages conversation, because when you understand what your communication style is, it's easier to relay it to your partner. Like, hey, I need space to just get my emotions out. Like, I'm the type of person, when I'm mad, Mac knows I'm going to give you your 10 minutes to be mad and do whatever you need to do. You done? All right, let's talk about it. Like, don't try to deflate me when I'm mad. Like, let me have that emotion and then we could talk about it. But that's something that we had to discuss. And, you know, because otherwise, you trying to stop me from being mad while I'm at the height of festivity. And now I'm gonna be mad at you. That is a word. It's a word. Don't you please? But it comes down to communication, right? Now there's something I want to talk about when we talk about triggers and partners. Accommodations, right? I am arachnophobic, like immensely arachnophobic. Mac knows this. Mac will go out of his way if he knows that there's something spider related to keep it away from me. All right, babe, cover your eyes and I'll let you know when the spider's gone, and you know, all of these things. But Mac is human, right? There are going to be times where he does not know that a spider is about to appear. He does not know, or even if he has watched a movie 800 times and knew that there was a spider in there, he might have forgotten. It is my trigger, not his. So I can't get mad at Mac. I might give him shit, but I can't get mad at Mac and be like, why didn't you tell me there was a spider in here and now I have anxiety because you didn't It's my trigger. It's not Mac's. So while he goes out of his way to accommodate my trigger, it is still my responsibility to either deal with the fact that I'm arachnophobic, which I ain't doing right now, and heal from the fact that I'm arachnophobic, or I have to understand that Mac is human, and all of the times that he has accommodated my trigger outweighs the one time he didn't. And I feel like that is extremely important, not just between romantic relationships, but just in life. Your triggers are your responsibility. Now, as my partner, Mac,
or as somebody who cares about you in general.
There we go. Period. There is a sense of obligation to keep that trigger in mind, but we're human. And being human means we are fallible. And I think we should all understand that we have the choice to heal from our triggers. Now, I'm not going to say that extreme violent triggers are just that easy to deal with. And it's a lot easier to be more sensitive to those type of triggers and have that accommodation. But there are a lot of personal life triggers that we have to recognize the whole world doesn't know about. And the people in our lives have their own lives and their own triggers that they are constantly trying to keep up with. So having people slip up here and there when it comes to accommodations, we can't fly off the handle. And, you know, under the topic that we're talking about when it comes to relationships, we have to be cognizant of that. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
I understand. So, I guess the overarching message here is healing is just as important or more important than accommodating.
Yes.
Like, yes, as people who care about each other, we should absolutely put in that effort to accommodate each other. But we should also be healing, and we should also be doing what we can to help each other heal. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is how we move on from trauma, be it personal or generational.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I don't need Mac to try to bring no spiders around me to help me heal. I don't.
Oh, nah. I don't too much care for spiders myself. I just don't mind being the one to kill them.
Totally his job. Let us know how you guys feel in the comments. If you have any questions about how we handle trauma with each other, you know, we acknowledge, we allow space, we talk about it, we find the root. One thing I will say when it comes to healing trauma, once you find the root of the trauma, you make the decision of how much power that root has over you.
Do some shadow work.
I mean, at the end of the day, the shadow work has to be done. Not for your relationship, for you. Shadow work always has to be done for you above all else, right? Because that's where you understand how to remove the power of the trigger. Triggers don't go away. Trauma does not go away. Healing happens when you no longer have a visceral response to the trigger. I get triggered every day, but I don't fall into the pit of despair that I used to. I don't rage out like I used to. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't get petty and start doing some just weird shit like I used to. I get triggered, I acknowledge the trigger and realize this doesn't have power over my life anymore, and I move on. It's not an easy process. It takes time, but it has to be done. I'm never going to be the person that says, until you love yourself, nobody else can love you. That's fucking stupid. What I will say is your healthy relationship is on the other side of healing. It wasn't until we reached a level of healing for ourselves that spirit put us in alignment with each other. And we continue to heal. We continue to grow together and individually. But that's all I have.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Love you, babe.
I love you.
Till next time. Peace.